There are moments in life that divide your existence into before and after. Moments so shocking, so fundamentally world-altering, that you can never go back to the person you were before they happened. For me, that moment came on a Sunday evening in July, sitting in my car outside a country club, staring at my phone screen with numbers that didn't make sense. My name is Rebecca Chen. I'm 34 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my stepmother and her children stole everything I had. Every single penny, my entire future, and how they smiled to my face while doing it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning because you need to understand how someone could do this. How a family could look you in the eye, hug you, laugh with you, and simultaneously be draining your bank account dry. I grew up in Westchester County, New York. My mother, Linda Chen, was a corporate attorney. Brilliant, fierce, successful. My father, Thomas Morrison, was a financial analyst at Goldman Sachs. They met at Columbia, got married young, had me when my mom was 30. I was their only child, and they poured everything into giving me the best life possible. Mom died when I was 12, ovarian cancer, stage 4 by the time they caught it. She fought for 18 months, and I watched this powerhouse of a woman gradually fade away. The last thing she said to me, holding my hand in that hospital bed, was, "Be smart with money, Becca. It's freedom, don't ever let anyone take your freedom." I didn't understand what she meant then, I do now. After Mom died, Dad fell apart. He'd loved her desperately, the kind of love that doesn't come twice in a lifetime. He went through the motions for my sake, showed up to my school events, made sure I was fed and clothed, but the light had gone out of him. He was a shell of the man he'd been. When Mom died, she left me a trust fund. She'd been incredibly successful, and she'd invested wisely. The trust was structured so I'd get access to it when I turned 25, but until then, it would grow. She'd set it up with her own money, completely separate from anything Dad had. It was her way of making sure I'd always be taken care of, even if she couldn't be there to do it herself. Dad and I muddled through for 4 years. Just the two of us in our big house in Scarsdale, both grieving, both trying to figure out how to live in a world without her. I threw myself into school. Got perfect grades, played violin, did everything I could to make Mom proud wherever she was. Then, when I was 16, Dad met Vanessa Hartwell. She was a real estate agent, divorced with 2 kids, Connor, who was 18, and Amber, who was 14. Dad met her when he was looking to downsize the house. "Too many memories," he said. "Too many ghosts." I remember the first time he brought her to dinner. She was attractive in that overly polished way some women have. Blonde highlights, expensive clothes that were just a touch too tight, laugh that was just a bit too loud. She complimented everything. The house, the food I'd made, my adorable outfit. It felt performative, but Dad was smiling for the first time in years, so I tried to be happy for him. They got married 6 months later. Fast, even by grieving widower standards. Vanessa and her kids moved into our house, and suddenly my quiet life with Dad became chaos. Connor was a college dropout who decided he was going to be an entrepreneur, which apparently meant coming up with app ideas he never actually developed while living rent-free. Amber was your typical entitled teenager, but amplified. She'd been the princess in Vanessa's household, and she expected the same treatment in ours. But here's the thing that should have been my first red flag. Vanessa was immediately very, very interested in my finances. "Thomas mentioned Linda left Becca quite a substantial trust," she said one night at dinner, barely a month after the wedding. "She said my mother's name like it tasted bad. That's so generous. When does she get access to it?" "When I'm 25, I said, uncomfortable with the question. "And how much is it, if you don't mind me asking?" "Vanessa, that's private," Dad said, but his tone was gentle, not firm, not protective. "I'm just asking because I want to make sure we're all on the same page about family finances," Vanessa said with that bright smile. "We're a blended family now. No secrets, right? I didn't answer. Something about the way she asked made my skin crawl. Over the next few years, I watched Vanessa systematically work on my father. Little comments about how I was so independent and didn't really need them. How I was practically an adult, and they should focus on Connor and Amber, who needed more guidance. She convinced Dad to pay for Connor's business ventures, thousands of dollars for equipment, software, office space that was never used. She convinced him to buy Amber a brand new BMW for her 16th birthday because she needs reliable transportation. Meanwhile, I was working part-time at a bookstore to pay for my own gas, but I kept my head down. I was going to Columbia, Mom's alma mater, on a combination of scholarships and student loans. I was studying finance, following in both my parents' footsteps. I had a plan: get through college, get my trust fund at 25, build my own life far away from Vanessa and her kids. When I was 19, Dad sat me down for a conversation I'll never forget. "Becca, honey, I need you to do me a favor." "Sure, Dad, what's up?" "You still have that old bank account, right? The one your mom and I opened for you when you were 10. The joint account." I did. It was a basic checking account at Chase. Mom had opened it to teach me about money management. I'd deposit birthday checks, my allowance, little bits here and there. After she died, I'd mostly forgotten about it. I had my own accounts now, my own banking. But yeah, it was still open, had maybe $300 in it. "Yeah, why?" "I need you to add me back onto it. Make it a joint account again. Just temporarily." "Why?" He looked uncomfortable. "Vanessa and I are restructuring some finances. There's some tax advantages to having accounts in different configurations. My accountant recommended it. It would really help us out and it won't affect you at all. You barely use that account anyway." I should have said no. I should have asked more questions. But I was 19 and he was my dad and he was asking me for help, so I said yes. We went to the bank together, signed the papers, made it a joint account with full access for both of us. The banker explained that this meant either of us could withdraw any amount at any time without the other's permission. I nodded along, not really paying attention. Again, there was barely any money in it. What did it matter? That was my mistake. My catastrophic, life-destroying mistake. I graduated from Columbia at 22 with a degree in finance and a job offer from Morgan Stanley. I was proud of myself. Mom would have been proud. I was building the life she'd wanted for me. On my 25th birthday, my mother's trust fund became accessible. The amount shocked even me. Between her own savings, her life insurance, and 13 years of smart investments, it had grown to $847,000. $800 and $47,000. My freedom. My future. Everything Mom had worked for, saved for, protected for me. My financial advisor suggested I keep most of it invested, take out only what I needed for immediate use. But I wanted some liquidity, some cushion. I was planning to buy an apartment in Manhattan, maybe start thinking about starting my own wealth management firm someday. So I transferred $200,000 to my regular checking account for immediate access. And here's where I made my second catastrophic mistake. I also transferred $50,000 to that old Chase account. I don't even know why. Nostalgia, maybe. It was the account Mom had opened for me. It felt right to have some of her money there, a way of keeping her close. I didn't think about the fact that it was still a joint account with my father. I didn't think about the fact that my father was married to Vanessa. I didn't think at all. Over the next 9 years, I built my career. I was good at what I did. Really good. By 34, I was a senior wealth manager at Morgan Stanley, pulling in a high six-figure salary. I was careful with my money, invested wisely, lived below my means. That $847,000 had grown to just over $1.1 million. I had a beautiful apartment in the Upper West Side. I had a retirement account that was fully funded. I had security, stability, freedom. Everything Mom had wanted for me. My relationship with Dad had become distant. He was fully enmeshed in Vanessa's world. Connor was 32 now, still living at home, still working on various business ideas that never materialized. Amber was 30, worked as a social media influencer, which seemed to mostly involve taking photos of herself and spending Dad's money on designer clothes. I saw them maybe twice a year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, if I couldn't come up with a good excuse to skip. The visits were always uncomfortable. Vanessa making passive-aggressive comments about my fancy job and expensive apartment. Connor asking if I could invest in his latest scheme. Amber showing off whatever luxury item Dad had bought her recently, but I tolerated it because Dad was my only parent left. And despite everything, I loved him. Then, in July of this year, Vanessa called me. "Rebecca, darling, how are you?" She never called me, never. "I'm fine, Vanessa. Is everything okay? Is Dad all right?" "Oh, he's wonderful. We're all wonderful. Listen, I'm calling because we're organizing a Morrison family reunion. My sister's family, my mother, Connor's girlfriend's family, we're doing a big thing at the country club, and we absolutely must have you there." A family reunion. Yes, it's going to be the last weekend in July. Saturday afternoon. We've rented out the whole banquet room at Meadowbrook Country Club. We want to celebrate family, all of us together. It would mean so much to your father if you came. Something felt off. Vanessa had never been this enthusiastic about including me in anything, but she was using Dad as leverage and she knew it would work. "I'll check my calendar," I said. "Oh, please do, and Rebecca, maybe don't mention it to your father yet. I want it to be a surprise for him that you're coming. He's been so stressed lately, and I think seeing you would just light up his day." That should have been red flag number 1. Why would my attendance be a surprise? Why couldn't I mention it to my own father? But I pushed the feeling aside and said I'd be there. The next few weeks were busy at work. We were managing a major portfolio, restructuring for a client, and I was working 70-hour weeks. I barely had time to think about the reunion, let alone the weird vibe of Vanessa's call. The Saturday of the reunion, I drove up to Westchester. I'd bought a nice gift for Dad, a first edition of his favorite book that I'd tracked down through a rare book dealer. It had cost me a small fortune, but I wanted to show him I was thinking of him, that I cared. Meadowbrook Country Club was exactly the kind of place Vanessa loved. Old money aesthetic, perfectly manicured lawns, the kind of place where everything was just expensive enough to make you feel inferior if you didn't belong. I walked into the banquet room and immediately felt out of place. There were maybe 50 people there. I recognized Vanessa's sister and her family, Vanessa's mother, a pinched-looking woman who'd never hidden her disdain for me. Connor was there with a woman I didn't recognize, probably his latest girlfriend. Amber was holding court in a corner, showing off her engagement ring to a group of women. Apparently she'd gotten engaged since I last saw her. To a guy named Chad or Brad or some similarly forgettable name. And there was Dad standing with Vanessa, both of them dressed like they were at a wedding. Dad in a full suit, Vanessa in a cocktail dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. When Dad saw me, his face lit up. "Becca, sweetheart, you made it." He came over and hugged me, and for a moment it felt normal, like old times. Of course I made it. Vanessa said it was important. Something flickered across his face. "Vanessa called you." "Yeah, a few weeks ago, said it was a family reunion and you'd want me here." He glanced over at Vanessa, who was watching us with that smile. That too bright, too perfect smile. "Right, yes, I'm so glad you're here." We didn't get to talk much more because Vanessa immediately swooped in, linking her arm through Dad's. "Rebecca, you look lovely, so glad you could make it. Come, come, let me introduce you to everyone." The next 2 hours were a blur of forced small talk with people who clearly had no idea who I was. Vanessa introduced me as Thomas's daughter from his first marriage, like I was a historical footnote. People would nod politely and then immediately lose interest. Connor cornered me at one point. "Hey, Rebecca, glad you're here. Listen, I've got this amazing opportunity, right? Cryptocurrency trading bot. Completely automated. I just need about 50K to get it off the ground." "You're in finance, right? You get it. This is gonna be huge." "Connor, I'm not investing in your cryptocurrency scheme. It's not a scheme, it's a legitimate business opportunity. No." He walked away muttering about how family should support each other. Amber showed off her engagement ring, which was ostentatious to the point of tackiness. "Isn't it gorgeous? It's 3 carats. Brad makes good money in tech sales, but Daddy helped with the ring because he wanted me to have something special." Of course he did. The whole event felt weird. Off, like everyone knew something I didn't. People kept glancing at me with these strange expressions. Pity maybe, or guilt, I couldn't quite read it. Around 4 o'clock, Vanessa clinked her glass for attention. Everyone quieted down. "I just want to thank everyone for coming today," she said, her voice carrying across the room. "Family is everything, and today is about celebrating the Morrison family, our family, the people who matter, the people who have been there for us." Her eyes landed on me for just a second, and something in her expression made my stomach drop. "Thomas and I have been so blessed. Our children, our extended family, all of you. This is what life is about, taking care of the people who take care of you." There was something pointed in the way she said it, something directed at me. The event wound down around 6. People started leaving, thanking Vanessa and Dad for a lovely afternoon. I was getting ready to leave too when Vanessa appeared at my elbow. "Rebecca, before you go, could you stay a few minutes? We need to talk to you about something." "What about?" "Just some family business, won't take long." Dad, Connor, and Amber were waiting in a smaller private room off the main banquet hall, the 4 of them all watching me as I walked in. "Have a seat, Becca," Dad said, gesturing to a chair. "I'd rather stand." "What's this about?" Vanessa and Dad exchanged a look. Then Vanessa sat down, crossing her legs, looking for all the world like she was about to chair a business meeting. "Rebecca, we need to discuss some financial matters." My blood went cold. "What financial matters?" "Well," Vanessa smiled, "you know Connor has been working so hard on his business ventures, and Amber's wedding is coming up. Weddings are expensive, you know, and your father and I were getting older. We need to think about our retirement." "Okay, what does this have to do with me?" "We needed some funds for these important family expenses. And well, you have that old bank account, the joint one with your father." Time seemed to slow down. "What are you talking about?" "The Chase account, dear, the one with quite a bit of money in it." My heart was pounding now. "That account has $50,000 in it, that's my money." "Actually," Vanessa's smile widened, "it's a joint account, which means it's equally your father's money, and we needed it, so we used it." "You, what?" "We withdrew the money," she said, like she was explaining something simple to a child. "About 3 weeks ago. We needed it more than you do, clearly. You have a fancy job, a fancy apartment, you don't need that money sitting around." I felt like I was going to throw up. $50,000, you stole $50,000 from me. "It's not stealing if it's from a joint account, dear, it's perfectly legal." I looked at my father. "Dad, tell me this isn't true." He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Becca, honey, Vanessa's right. It is a joint account, and we really did need the money. Connor's business." "Connor's business," I was shouting now. "Dad, Connor doesn't have a business. He's a 32-year-old child who's never worked a real day in his life, and you stole him my money to fund his delusions." "It's not stealing," Vanessa started. "Where did the money go?" I was shaking with rage now. "What did you spend it on?" Connor spoke up for the first time. "My crypto trading platform needed seed funding." "Amber's ring," Amber added proudly. "The upgrade, the 3-carat diamond. Brad's insurance covered 2 carats, but I wanted 3. I stared at her. "You spent my money on an extra carat for your engagement ring." We're family, she said like it was obvious. Family shares. Shares, shares, I'm not part of this family. You people have made that very clear for 18 years. Becca, calm down, Dad said. Don't tell me to calm down. You stole from me, your own daughter. We didn't steal anything, Vanessa said coldly, her pleasant mask slipping. We used money from a joint account that your father had every legal right to access. If you have a problem with that, you should have closed the account years ago. And there it was, the truth delivered with a sneer. This had been planned. This had been the point of the joint account all along. They'd been waiting for me to put money in it so they could take it. How long have you been planning this? I asked quietly. Vanessa shrugged. Does it matter? What's done is done. The money's spent. We needed it. You don't. End of story. I looked at my father one last time. Dad, say something. Tell me you didn't know about this. Tell me this was all Vanessa's idea and you had no part in it. He looked at the floor. Becca, Connor really needed the help, and Amber's wedding. I wanted her to have a nice ring. And Vanessa said you wouldn't even notice the money was gone. Wouldn't notice. $50,000. You make plenty of money, Vanessa snapped. You don't need it like we do. It was MY money from MY mother, money she left me. Oh, please, Vanessa rolled her eyes. Always about your dead mother. Your father has a new family now, new priorities, and quite frankly, you've never been a priority. You're just Thomas's obligation from his first marriage. We're his real family. The room was silent. Connor and Amber were watching me with something like satisfaction. Dad was still staring at the floor, his face red, and Vanessa was looking at me with pure triumph. Get out, I whispered. Excuse me. Get out, all of you, this is assault, this is theft, I don't care if it was technically legal, you planned this. You waited until I put money in that account and then you stole it, and you're proud of yourselves. Becca, please, Dad reached for me, I jerked away from him. Don't touch me, don't ever touch me again, you're not my father. My father died with my mother. You're just some weak man who let a gold digger replace his entire personality. I walked out of that room, out of that country club, got in my car and drove. I don't even remember the drive home. I was on autopilot, my mind reeling. $50,000. Gone. Spent on Connor's latest scam and an extra diamond on Amber's ring. When I got back to my apartment, I immediately logged into my bank account. Just to confirm. Just to see the damage in black and white. And that's when my world ended. The Chase account, the one they'd admitted to draining, showed a balance of $0. That was expected, horrible but expected. But my main checking account, the one at Bank of America, the one with $200,000 in it, $0. My savings account, the one with another $150,000, $0. My investment account at Vanguard. The one with the remainder of my trust fund, the bulk of my mother's legacy. $782,000, $0, every account, every single account. Completely drained, over $1 million, gone, I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, this wasn't possible. How could they have accessed these accounts? They weren't joint, Dad wasn't on them. There was no way, unless I pulled up my email searching frantically. And I found them, emails going back months. Emails I'd never seen because they'd been automatically filtered to spam. Verify your account information. Confirm this wire transfer. Update your security settings. All of them phishing emails. All of them designed to look like they were from my banks. And someone had responded to them. Someone had given away my passwords, my security questions, my account numbers. Someone had stolen my identity, and I knew exactly who. With shaking hands, I called Bank of America. The automated system confirmed it. Large wire transfers. Initiated 3 weeks ago. Multiple accounts. All drained within a 48-hour period. Destination accounts, business accounts, LLC registrations I'd never heard of, but the names on the LLC registrations, Connor Morrison, Amber Morrison Patterson, Vanessa Morrison, They hadn't just taken the 50,000 from the joint account, they'd taken everything. Every penny my mother had left me. Every dollar I'd saved over 9 years of working. My security, my future, my freedom, all of it, gone. I sat on my bathroom floor and screamed. Just screamed until my throat was raw and my voice gave out. Then I cried, ugly, gasping, hysterical crying. My phone was ringing. Dad, I didn't answer. Vanessa, I didn't answer. Connor, Amber, all of them calling, probably realizing I'd discovered the full scope of what they'd done. Finally, a text came through from Vanessa. Before you do anything stupid, remember it's your word against ours, and we have very good lawyers. Don't make this ugly, Rebecca. That text. That single text gave me something I desperately needed in that moment. Clarity. They thought they'd won. They thought I'd be too devastated, too broken to fight back. They thought they could threaten me into silence. They were wrong. I picked myself up off that bathroom floor, washed my face, and started making calls. First, to the police. Filed a report for identity theft, wire fraud, and financial elder abuse of my father, because that's what this was. Vanessa had clearly manipulated him into giving her access to information about me, about my accounts. Second, to a lawyer, not just any lawyer, the best fraud attorney in New York City. His retainer alone was $25,000. I put it on my credit card, one of the only things they hadn't maxed out. Third, to my boss. Explained the situation. Asked for a short leave of absence to deal with a family emergency. He approved it immediately and offered any help the firm could provide. And fourth, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Marcus Thompson. We dated briefly in college, nothing serious, but we'd stayed friendly. He'd gone into forensic accounting after Columbia. Now he worked for the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. Rebecca, wow, it's been forever. How are you? Marcus, I need help. Someone stole over $1 million from me, and I think I can prove it. He was at my apartment within 2 hours. I showed him everything. The emails, the wire transfer records, the timeline of events, the business LLCs that Connor, Amber, and Vanessa had set up, the sudden purchases they'd made, Connor's new Porsche, Amber's wedding venue deposit, Vanessa's kitchen renovation. Marcus listened, took notes, and when I was done, he looked at me with something like awe. Becca, this is cut and dry fraud. I mean slam dunk case. They didn't even try to hide it. The wire transfers came from IP addresses traced to your father's house. The phishing responses came from email accounts set up in variations of your name, and all the money went directly into accounts they control. This is possibly the sloppiest financial crime I've ever seen. So you can help me. Help you, Rebecca, I'm going to bury them. The next week was a blur. Marcus brought in the FBI. They froze all of Vanessa's, Connor's, and Amber's accounts, seized the Porsche, put holds on the wedding venue deposits. Everything they'd bought with my money was locked down. My lawyer filed a civil suit for the full amount plus damages, but more importantly, the FBI filed criminal charges: wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit fraud. All three of them, Vanessa, Connor, and Amber, were arrested. My father wasn't charged. Turns out he really hadn't known the full extent of what Vanessa was doing. He'd known about the joint account, had agreed to that, but the identity theft, the phishing scam, the wire fraud, that was all Vanessa and her kids. Dad called me the night they were arrested. I almost didn't answer. Becca, please, I need to talk to you. There's nothing to say. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know what she was planning. The joint account, yes, I knew about that. She convinced me it was just 50,000, that you wouldn't miss it, that we needed it for Connor and Amber. But the rest, the $1 million, I had no idea. But you would have let her keep it if I hadn't found out. Silence. That's what I thought. Becca, please, she's going to prison, all three of them, and I lost everything. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You didn't lose everything, Dad. I did. You just lost your meal ticket. There's a difference. I hung up. The legal process took months. My lawyer was a pit bull, and Marcus made sure the FBI threw the book at them. In the end, Vanessa pled guilty to wire fraud and identity theft. She got 6 years in federal prison. Connor got 4 years. Amber got 3 years and had to forfeit her engagement ring as part of restitution. Most of my money was recovered. Not all. They'd spent about $200,000 on things that couldn't be easily liquidated. Connor's failed crypto trading platform. Amber's wedding deposits that couldn't be refunded. Vanessa's kitchen renovation. But I got back $847,000. Not everything, but enough to rebuild. During the trial, more things came to light. Vanessa had been running this scam for years with other people. I wasn't her first victim. She'd married 2 other wealthy men before my father, always divorced them within 5 years, always walked away with substantial settlements. She was a professional con artist, and my father had been her easiest mark. The thing that saved me, ironically, was the bank manager at Bank of America. His name was David Chen. No relation, just coincidentally the same last name. He'd flagged the wire transfers as suspicious when they happened, had tried to contact me multiple times. When he couldn't reach me, because Vanessa had been intercepting my calls and emails somehow, he'd frozen the last $50,000 before it could be transferred. That $50,000 kept me afloat during the legal process. David and I got coffee after everything was resolved, to thank him, to understand how he'd known something was wrong. The transfers were too clean, he explained, too perfect. Real people make mistakes when they're moving money around. They hesitate, they double-check, they call the bank. These transfers were done by someone who'd done this before, someone professional. That raised red flags. We kept talking. Got coffee again the next week. And the week after that. He was kind, thoughtful, genuinely interested in me as a person and not just my bank account. 6 months later, we started dating. It's been a year now since that family reunion, since the worst and best day of my life. Worst because I learned my stepfamily had been planning to rob me for years. Best because it forced me to see the truth about them, about my father, about myself. Vanessa, Connor, and Amber are in prison. My father is alone in that big house in Westchester, finally realizing what he gave up. He writes to me sometimes. Long, rambling letters about regret and mistakes and hoping for forgiveness. I don't write back. Maybe someday, maybe when enough time has passed and I've healed enough to have that conversation, but not now. Now I'm focused on rebuilding. My finances, my life, my ability to trust. David has been patient, understanding. He knows what I went through, knows I have walls up. But he's slowly, carefully, showing me that not everyone is looking to take advantage. Some people just genuinely want to share your life, not steal from it. I'm back at Morgan Stanley, back to managing wealth for clients who trust me. Ironically, I'm better at my job now. I understand financial predators in a way I never did before. I can spot them a mile away. And I'm fierce about protecting my clients from the Vanessas of the world. My mother's money, what's left of it, is locked in trusts now. Multiple layers of protection. No joint accounts. No easy access for anyone but me, and I check my accounts daily, sometimes twice daily. I'll never be that trusting again, that naive, that vulnerable. But maybe that's okay. Maybe some lessons need to be learned the hard way. Maybe some trust needs to be destroyed before it can be rebuilt stronger. Vanessa thought she was stealing my freedom when she drained my accounts. She thought she was taking away everything my mother had left me. But what she actually did was teach me the most valuable lesson of all. Your freedom doesn't come from money. It comes from knowing who you are, what you're worth, and refusing to let anyone, family or otherwise, take that from you. Mom said money is freedom, and she was right. But she also taught me to be smart, to be strong, to never let anyone take advantage of me. I forgot those lessons for a while. Let myself be vulnerable to people who didn't deserve my trust. I won't make that mistake again. The Morrison family tried to vote me out of existence, tried to steal my future, tried to destroy me, but I'm still standing. They're in prison, and honestly, that's justice enough for me. Last month, I got a letter from Vanessa. She's up for parole review in 3 years and wanted me to write a letter supporting her release. I wrote back. One sentence. You should have needed it more. I didn't sign it. She'll know who it's from.